The Biden administration, it turns out, has a secret weapon in their economic strategy arsenal. And that secret weapon is the vice president, Kamala Harris.
Imagine a future. The freight trucks that deliver bread and milk to our grocery store shelves, and the buses that take children to school and parents to work. Imagine all the heavy-duty vehicles that keep our supply lines strong and allow our economy to grow. Imagine that they produced zero emissions. Well, you all imagined it. That's why we're here today, because we have the ability to see what can be, unburdened by what has been, and then to make the possible actually happen.
I mean, Clay, can we put her in charge? I want her solving all of our problems because, wow, it's amazing. We have the ability to see what can be, unburdened by what has been, and then make the possible actually happen. Boom, that's all you need, man. Fixes the economy right there. Fixes emissions, all of it.
Who is writing her speeches? Whoever's writing her speeches is not doing her any favors, but also the way she delivers them is infuriatingly annoying. And it's important to remember that she dropped out of the Democratic race for the presidency before there had even been a vote cast. That's how incompetent her presidential campaign was. And the only time she even made real news in her campaign was when she called Joe Biden a racist. So her entire campaign was calling Joe Biden a racist and then being so unlikable that she had to drop out because nobody would vote for her. And then Joe Biden inexplicably rescued her from what would have been probably electoral oblivion and made her his vice president. And honestly, that may be the best choice Joe Biden has made, if only because he picked someone who was so much more awful at her job than he was, that she actually has lower approval ratings than he does. So that might be the only saving grace. And by the way, we're talking about the price of oil, Buck, but you and I were talking about off the air not too long ago, a couple of segments ago. We're not far from the stock market turning negative since Joe Biden became president of the United States. So I don't even know what he's going to be able to point to, but certainly Kamala, who is one of the biggest disasters out there, is pretty unbelievable. I mean, even SNL is making fun of her.
Oh, we're gonna play that in a moment.
Yes.
And let's remember that somehow the vice president here, who we thought the initial thinking on this, and I don't just mean Republican, Democrat too, was that she was the same way it would be if Trump runs, his VP, as you said, I think it was last week, Clay. That's a particularly
Monster
significant
choice.
pick because he would be in his second term. There is not going to be a third term. And so you have the heir apparent vice president situation. Biden at one point said he would only run for one term. He changed on that early on, but he did say it. But everyone assumed, given his age and everything else, that Kamala would be a consequential vice presidential pick in one way or another. And what we've actually seen is they keep moving her responsibilities. She was the border czar, and then she was deployed to Europe to fix the Ukraine situation, and now she's talking about the Green New Deal and well, not that specifically, but energy and how we can have no emissions from all. By the way, no emissions? I mean, think about why is the current vice president even spewing such nonsense? As I said, best case, this is decades away, but Clay, it doesn't matter. The media, if they had something to say that was positive about the way that she's being received by the American people as the vice president, they would. I mean, they're dying to find positive things to say about Kamala. The fact that they largely just go, oh, another Kamala speech, that tells you all you need to know.
She's the diversity and inclusion candidate in an era when the mainstream media is desperate to make the diversity and inclusion candidate look like a hero, and she's so bad at her job, they can't even make her look like a hero. And by the way, this is true of most of the Biden administration. I mean, we were making fun of Mayor Pete earlier, but think about how out of touch it is with the American public today to say, as they are paying potentially by this week the highest price for a gallon of gas in the history of this country, the way to solve this issue is for them to go buy new electric cars. I mean, that you would even come up with the idea. I was making fun of it. I mean, it's a little bit like saying, hey, I don't understand why homeless people don't just buy houses. You know, I mean, it's a fundamental lack of understanding of economic reality. And by the way, this used to be the Democratic Party's selling point. We're the party of the common man and woman out there, telling them to go buy electric vehicles. How much more New York and LA dominant base can your line of thought? And remember, Mayor Pete was supposed to be the Midwestern guy, the mayor of South Bend, Indiana. He knows what the American public is like. Yeah, go buy an electric car after you take off months for your paternity leave. This guy is as big of a disaster as Kamala, and both of them were supposed to be the future of the Democratic Party.
One thing we heard a lot when Trump was president, and even in the run-up to his presidency, was, hey, maybe it would be a good idea to have somebody who has run a business and has an understanding of business to be in such a prominent position, you know, to be the president. What you have with this administration is the opposite of that. You have basically faculty lounge hires mixed in with people that are, you know, running diversity and inclusion seminars at major companies, mixed in with people who are just politicos who have never actually had to run a real business with profit and loss and products that have to be made for people. And Joe Biden, I mean, as I've said, the only jobs Joe Biden's ever created are for Hunter in China and Ukraine. And so here we are. Is any of this surprising? I mean, when you look at what's going on with the economy and everything else, it's kind of like the big "we told you so" presidency to all the people that voted for him. Like, yeah, exactly. This is what we said would happen.
We have the anti-payroll right now party, right? And what I mean by that, the anti-payroll party, if you have ever run any kind of business, and I know a lot of people who are listening to us right now, where you have had to make payroll, right? That is an overwhelming amount of stress on your shoulders. You have to not only worry about your job security as the small business owner, you know that you have countless people and their lives depend on the success or failure of your business, and i.e. whether you turn a profit or not. And these people have no clue. They've never had to make a payroll in their life.